What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Mortal Kombat 2. In this second installment, we follow the fan-favorite champions who are now joined by Johnny Cage himself, who are pitted against one another in an ultimate battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn, who threatens the existence of Earthrealm and its defenders. This marks the 5th video game adaptation to come out on the big screen in the year of 2026, and this is a direct follow-up to the 4th iteration of the Mortal Kombat movies. Guys, it's been a while since I've actually got to touch a controller or to jam buttons at an arcade to play any iteration of these video games, but I know I could just download the mobile app. It just isn't as fun. You know what's funny is that the last time I got to play any of the video games, I only messed with the bonus skins. So like other IPs such as Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, or the Yautja from Predator, or the Xenomorph from Alien. Those were incredible to add to the Mortal Kombat games. But if we're gonna have to just knock it down to, the iconic ones, I would have to say, and this is a basic one, my favorite was Scorpion. Was I any good? Pfft, no. Now when it comes to the movies, guys, if I'm going to be honest with you, I know that a lot of people really enjoy that 1995 Mortal Kombat film, but I am really not a fan. I've seen it like 4 times, and I really don't understand why people hold it to such a high regard other than nostalgia. The sequel, Annihilation, I saw that for the first time a few weeks ago. That was hot garbage, but luckily it is a viewing experience that is so bad, it's good. Now, if we want to talk about quality, a more faithful adaptation to the video games, it would have to be the R-rated animated movies. Now, if you haven't seen them already, I highly suggest you do. They are the way to go. They're a great watch. It's 80 minutes apiece, and it is just bloody good fun. Especially Scorpion's Revenge being my favorite of the 4. And then we have the 2021 live-action version, and it's pretty good for what it was. It's not the most terrible thing. It's not the greatest thing ever, but I had fun with it. Oh, diehard fans had their own issues when it came to that 2021 movie, taking liberties such as having to follow an original character as our lead protagonist, having our champions try to awaken their powers in order to fight, and also not having the tournament at play at all, etc. And I think the creative team took a lot of those criticisms to heart and tried to outdo themselves when it came to crafting a lot of ideas for a sequel. We were supposed to get this movie back in October of 2025, but in an interview, the filmmakers, the studio, they were so confident that they had a certified banger that they wanted to hold out for a summer release. So it's the summer of 2026, it's the month of May, and after finally seeing the movie for myself, I can honestly say that while Mortal Kombat 2 struggles to craft a compelling narrative and also stay faithful to the video game, it does succeed in finding that sweet spot that caters to longtime fans and entertains a lot of new and casual viewers of the IP. Starting off with the positives, with a large roster of warriors to choose from, I love that no matter which version, which installment that I'm watching, is that we're always going to have a different main character. And here, we have an interesting choice of Karl Urban as Johnny Cage being marketed as the sequel's first billing, but surprisingly enough, it was really the character of Katana that was the heart and backbone of this entire movie. Adeline Rudolph. Now, I haven't had the chance to dive into her filmography before this, but if you haven't been a fan of Katana already, you certainly will be after this. She's our blue steel-fanned warrior, and other than having more screen time than the star of Uncaged Fury, her introduction, her arc, her motivation held so much more weight than anyone else in the ensemble. Going back to Karl Urban, this man has a very versatile film career to the point where I'm still discovering him in various and different and gutsy roles and IPs, to where I was watching Doom the other day, totally forgot he was the main character because it's very much marketed as Dwayne Johnson's film, and nobody ever thought that, hey, that was a guy from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was also in the Riddick franchise. He was also in the Star Trek trilogy, and now he's Butcher from The Boys? I mean, he just keeps popping up in different places. And when you take him, his life, his career, you parallel that with Johnny Cage and who that character is. I mean, he is just the more mortal, egotistical, sarcastic, joke-a-minute ladies' man. And what Urban brings to the character is a little bit more older, more vulnerable, and sort of a washed-up angle that it's almost perfect. Johnny Cage becomes the everyman here, where he gets to ask all the questions and he fishes up all the answers to catch everyone up to speed. So if you didn't see the first movie or probably have forgotten it already, not to worry, because the pacing of this installment moves lightning fast to where within the first 15 minutes we have Earthrealm and Outer Realm just clashing right into the tournament. Other characters worth mentioning on the roster, Shao Kahn turned out to be a ferocious villain. I really thought he was just going to be the big bad that sits around all day, delegates the whole time, and just looking cool with his helmet and his hammer, but he impacts the story significantly to where he actually gets his hands dirty and throws down with each and every one of our heroes. Josh Lawson also makes a comeback as Kano, and if I'm gonna be honest, I thought that his resurrection was gonna be another throwaway plot device. Thankfully, that wasn't the case here. He is funny. Like, a lot funnier than he was in the last movie. Like, there are a lot of pop culture references that he throws rapid fire style, and I was laughing so often and so frequently. I mean, I think he might be funnier than Johnny Cage. And with that being said, with the personalities of Kano and Johnny Cage being such the comic reliefs, I was worried that when they got to pair up, they were going to cannibalize each other. But in this case, I could honestly watch an entire movie with just those two hanging out and just having miscellaneous adventures and going back and forth in the banter, because they bring their own levels of funny where it's quite different and not necessarily the same, and they work really well together. Other than the impressive makeup, character, and costume designs, the piece de resistance, the reason you come to a Mortal Kombat movie to begin with, are for the fights and fatalities. And boy, oh boy, do they deliver. Ripped from the iconic gameplay matches to just straight up gruesome brawls, the action set pieces are fueled with needle drops, winks, and combination specials that will leave the entire auditorium cheering. I did like that every backdrop felt like a spectrum of arenas that you could choose from in the game, especially with that one familiar chamber that was surrounded by green acid. And while there are some matches that might seem more interesting than others, I do have to say so myself that the fight, the face-off between Liu Kang and Kung Lao was probably the best and most emotional sequence throughout the entire movie. Getting into my negatives here, now I wish we had the Russo brothers to write the script for this, to direct this film, but that's actually not the case. So it is rather rough around the edges, especially when they wedge in a MacGuffin plot surrounding the tournament. And I felt like even though the movie was tightly paced, I could have used a longer movie. I would have loved to see them flesh out a lot more of the characters and each and every one of their drives, because it would have added a lot more balance and a lot more genuine stakes to a lot of the confrontations that we got. And with the exception of Katana and Liu Kang, I felt like every time we got to see one character pair up with another character for a fight, you just kind of had a feeling of who was going to win already. And that really didn't hold any room for more suspense and excitement. Now, if you had the chance to rewatch the first movie before stepping into the sequel, there were a lot of plot devices and liberties from that movie that are easily brushed under the rug, forgotten, and reestablished in this sequel, to the point where some of those details in the continuity are now confusing. And also, I felt like being a fan of Scorpion is a curse, because when it comes to the live-action iterations, although his fight scene with Noob Saibot is just as insane and awesome as it was with Sub-Zero, their whole relevance and utilization just felt like shoot into the plot to the point where it's basically an afterthought. Speaking of relevance, now we know that there was a majority of people who weren't fans of Cole Young, this original character who was leading this familiar franchise, but the way that they handled him here was so disrespectful and foul. Like, all of a sudden, he was barely a glimpse in the marketing. He is not the focus anymore, and it only makes the last installment feel so irrelevant because we spent so much time getting to know this character, having to know what he stands for. And I get it, the creatives wanted to listen to the fan base and not have another Resident Evil franchise in their lap, especially when it comes to an original character like Alice, who has done, what, 6 installments and has still been very divisive between the people that go to the movies and those who just play the video games, and that is already a tainted brand in itself. I think Lewis Tan has definitely brought a lot of his dedication to translating a lot of his martial arts skills to the big screen, and I think that he deserved a lot better. Overall, this was a big, loud, and fun summer blockbuster sequel that guarantees laughs, gasps, and adrenaline-fueled excitement from start to finish. Could the story have been better? Yes. Could the characterization have been better? Yes. Is this a faithful adaptation to the video game? Yes. While this movie is far from perfect, I can earnestly admit that this is the best live-action Mortal Kombat movie that I'm more than likely to watch again and again. I sure hope that we don't have to wait another 5 years to get that third movie, but if that's how long it takes to get it right, then I'm game. Well, alright guys, that's all I got to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out if you want. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren Banawa, and I want to thank you guys again for taking some time out today to hear me talk some movies. I'll see you guys at the theater. In the meanwhile, take care.
Kitana, Shao Kahn, Liu Kang, Jade, Jax, Sonya.